Welcome back to the Joe McNeil Podcast. I believe this is episode 8.
Yep.
Today I have here with me a special guest, Joe McNeil. Wow.
Hello.
I think today's episode we're just going to kind of dive into like your backstory, like what you did to become what you are and where you are at in life. So,
Joe McNeil.
Yep.
Sounds good.
Yeah.
Exciting.
Like, tell me a little bit about how it is raising 7 kids. Like,
utter chaos.
yeah.
But growing up, I mean, we had, oh goodness sakes, I know we had 7. We had 7 growing up. I had 2 older brothers that died. One died at 9 months, so I never knew him, Jacob. And then I had my 17-year-old older brother. He was 6 years older than me. Died when I was 12. That's another. I mean, we don't really have to go into that. It's pretty sad. But there were 6 in the house growing up. I thought that was pretty normal. And I don't know. I didn't think we were weird, but I guess we were pretty weird.
Yeah. Did you always want a big family like this? 'Cause, like, growing up in a big family, were you like, I want a small one, or like, did you want a big family as well?
No, we wanted. I did not want a big family. We had. Let's see here. We had Elijah first, then Abby like 14 months later, and it was like 1 boy, 1 girl. I was like, okay, we're done. We got 1 of each. We can fit in a Honda Civic. And they were basically like having twins anyways, because they were so close. That was, everybody should do that at least once in their life. And, we thought I could be done. I don't think Mom wanted to be done because there was only 3 growing up in her house.
Yeah.
I mean, or like, I guess 5 counting the parents, but, then we had you.
Yep.
And Destiny kind of close. We always kind of had everybody in 2s. And then, so we were like, oh my gosh, 2 boys, 2 girls. Now we're done.
Yeah.
Because after we had you, we were like, nah, we're not going to be done with 3 because we want that kid to have somebody to play with. So then we had Destiny and 2 boys, 2 girls. We're done now. And then we had Eve. Eve was, hey, we haven't had a kid in 6 years. I think there's 6 years between Eve and Destiny. It's a pretty big break. And all right, well, we had Eve and got to have another one. So she has somebody to play with. So we have Samuel. So now we've got 3 boys, 3 girls, definitely done at 6. Totally done. And then we're getting ready to hit 40. Mom's going to correct me on this, but we hit 40 and we get pregnant with Arthur. And that was like, yeah. I mean, I think I had to go into therapy for a little bit after that one. I was like, and but yeah. So we're like, it's like that game where you're like, all right, who could be the quietest? Starting now. And somebody talks and you're like, all right, starting now. So we're like, yeah, this is our last kid, starting now.
Yeah.
For the 7th time. But now I wouldn't trade it for the world. I love our house.
Yeah.
I love our family. I love that it's lousy and noisy and chaotic. Every single kid has their own unique personality, and they're all, super quiet and mild mannered. It's like, for whatever reason.
Yeah.
But no, I wouldn't change anything.
Yeah. And then like with all of the stuff with short game, so like golf instructor, running the company, what got you into wanting to be a golf instructor?
Well, I didn't get in wanting to be a golf instructor. I was trying to play on the PGA Tour.
Yeah.
And unsuccessfully. And so I started golf. You're not really asking this, but I started super late in life. Like, I think at 13 was the first time we found some clubs in a barn. We lived on a lot of land. You remember that?
Yep.
So me and my friend Rusty found some clubs in my dad's barn, and they were old from like the 70s. And then there were some golf balls in there, and we're like, the heck is this? I think I knew my grandpa played, but I didn't remember anything. So we took those out in the woods and just started trying to hit a ball we could not hit. Like, it was so hard. And we had a neighbor saw us out doing that. He gave us some old clubs. I mean, and when I say old clubs, they're like, those rubber grips that like dry out and they start cracking and then they're like super slick.
Yeah.
That's what we had. And so then we started like trying to see if we could hit to the end of our property. We were terrible. We ended up going with Grandpa. He did not want to take us because he knew we sucked. And Mom made him. She was like, Dad. And so we went out there at a little 9-hole in Spencer, Indiana called Pine Woods. And we were awful and super awful, like, and didn't know how bad we were. We just thought everybody was awful because it was super hard at golf. So if I was 13, and that would have been, about 95, 96. And then there were starting to get rumblings of Tiger. Tiger was doing a ton of stuff in the amateur world. And golf started getting more popular with him.
Yeah.
But funny story. I got pretty good quick. And when I say that, like, our family was shooting 120 on 18 holes. So, so like anything under 100 was pretty good. So it wasn't long and I started beating everybody. And it's kind of like, pretty good. And I remember going into the clubhouse. Well, I didn't beat Grandpa. I didn't beat my grandpa till I was 18. So that took me forever. But I beat everybody else in the family. And I remember going in the clubhouse and the guy goes, "You guys having a good day today?" I go, "Just shot a 53." And that was like my personal best. I mean, I beat everybody. I was like 53. And he goes, and just laughed in my face. And he goes, "Dude, somebody shot 30 out here this morning." And I'm like, they had to have cheated. Like, who could shoot a 30?
Yeah.
We had no concept. We had no lessons, no training, nothing. And Grandpa, I don't want to disgrace him.
Yeah.
He was good, but he was pretty generous with the mulligans.
Yeah.
So I remember,
Golfers.
we were like, you get one on the first tee. You can have one on the 9th hole. You can have 2 on the 9th hole if you want. I mean, if you're within 3 feet, it's a gimme. It may be some of that stuff he was doing to speed us up because we were so terrible. I remember playing 9 holes and losing 14 balls one time.
Oh my gosh.
We learned all kinds of stuff. I mean, I remember some guy came up to us and we topped it and didn't make it past the women's tees. And the guy goes, "Well, you know what you got to do." And we're
Pull
like,
your pants down.
"Yeah, you got to pull your pants down." And we were like, we're a homeschool family. We were mortified. Like, oh my God. Yeah.
The real question is, did you?
No. We just picked it up and threw it on the other side of the women's tees. I meant to do that. But I'll let you ask more questions. We can dive into it. Otherwise, I'm just going to be talking for an hour telling the story. But
Yeah.
that's how we started. I didn't get my first lesson until I was 18 years old.
Okay. Yeah.
And it was a guy named Craig Hebert. He was in Bedford, Indiana. He's in Louisville, Kentucky now. I haven't talked to him in a long time, but he was a good instructor. Gave me a 10-minute lesson because I couldn't break 90. And I broke 80 right after that 10-minute lesson. So after that, I was like, I'm getting lessons.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy how, like, just somebody putting that belief of you in, and you're like, wow.
I remember him trash talking, and that was like, we were so uptight, like, you had to be like a certain way on the golf course. And I remember he was like making fun of the way I gripped the club, or, you're like, good God, you're like, what are you trying to do here? And then he watched me hit and he was like, "So you shoot about 75. And I'm like, 95. He was like, "What the heck?" He's like, and the next time I went out and shot 78.
Yeah. And then, so, like, you said you were trying to play on the PGA Tour. Like, when did that journey kind of start for you?
So I did not break par until I was 28 years old. So super late. And the great thing about golf, I mean, you know this, it's full of delusion.
Oh, yeah.
Because there's an open qualifying process and you're like, hey, you know what? you could do this. I had an IT business at the time that I was bored out of my mind with. It was doing well and allowed me to play a lot of golf. And so once I broke par from the tips, I was kind of like, huh. I was not thinking tour. I was just like, man, I really want to play competitively. And so that was 28. I think at 22, I'd played my city championship. That was the only other tournament I'd ever played. And it was match play. And I was fourth flight. So I had to shoot like 81 to get there. And I won that. And I wanted to play again, but they always played on Sundays. And where we were a part of pretty legalistic church.
Yeah.
And like that was like you did not play on Sunday. And so I didn't play again. 22 years old, won that city championship. Man, I really wanted to play. I wanted to play with better players. And so I called Craig. He was in Kentucky. He had moved. And I'm like, dude, I got to get better. Like I keep getting close to breaking par, but I'm like shooting 74, 75. I'm just stuck. And he gave me some books to read, and then he hooked me up with some guys to go play that were not my cup of tea. They were pretty heavy drinkers. And I went out and broke par playing with them. And I was like, I need to play. So Indiana's PGA section allowed for amateurs. And so I'm like, I'm an amateur. You
Yep.
had to have a better than 6 handicap. I had that. Let's go play. And so they did Monday. They ran Indiana PGA section, ran all the Monday qualifiers for the Corn Ferry. We had 1 or 2 Corn Ferry events in the state at the time. They amateur, US Open qualifying, all
Yeah.
kinds of stuff. And so I'm like, I'm going to go play that. And when I say playing the PGA Tour, you're just like, back of your mind, you're like, I want to go to Q school. That
Yeah.
was it. I just want to be good enough to do Q school. So I told myself I have to shoot 5 under in competition, or I'm going to teach and build an academy. But that's what I told myself. I was like, I'm not going to sink all that money in. In fact, I won't even do a Monday qualifier, even though my handicap would allow, until I shoot 5 under in the tournament.
Yeah.
So we did 3 years of that. That was in 2013. So 30 years old,
Okay.
and never shot 5 under. Really didn't play well at all. I had never played competition, so I didn't know.
Yeah.
And you don't realize how good all those PGA Club Pro guys are. They're really, really
They're
good.
just so good.
Yeah. And I played with guys that had played in the PGA Championship. I made a lot of good relationships, and they started opening this world. They let me know pretty clearly I didn't want to be in the golf business because there was no money in it. They were all working as pros. It was really good experience, and they started opening my eyes up to kind of what's possible. I was obsessed with golf. I mean, obsessed. You know this.
Yeah.
I was out beating balls in the yard. I was like, every chance I got, I was playing, trying to do something. And I did have the belief that I could get there, but I had a problem, and it wasn't a lack of reality. I knew what it was going to take because I played in the Indiana Amateur Championship. I qualified for that 3 years, basically finished. I didn't finish dead last. That's my claim to fame. I never finished dead
Yeah.
last in a tournament. It was pretty close. And Adam Shank won it the first year I played. He's on tour now.
Yep.
And I remember seeing him play. He had a gallery around him. And when he hit the ball, he was hitting it like 320. And it just had this pretty good sound.
Yeah.
Well, when I was hitting it, it was going about 260. But I made up for that with a poor short game. But yeah, it wasn't a good combo.
Yeah.
So we tried that for 3 years.
Yeah. And then moved down to Texas, and then basically start teaching. And I think at that point you were still kind of playing competition a little bit, right?
Yeah, we were, but we taught in Indiana. If you remember the camps we would do in our yard
Yeah.
in the dust. I wanted to help other people because Grandpa helped us, but he was also kind of like the parent that would throw you in the deep end, like, show me you can swim.
Yeah.
And I wanted, I was like, I'd like to help. I want kids. I think it's a great game. Um, and I was just as much as I could. I was trying to learn as much as I could and get around people that were successful, and like, what do they know about golf, and like, who do they know that I should know? And it was good networking. I love that. I mean, Indiana at the time that I was playing had like some of the top seniors or super seniors in the country, like 5 of the top 10. And
Wow.
because I would play with guys and they were like, "Oh, my son's played in the US Open. He's going to the," I mean, very, very successful people, super nice. You will not find friendlier, in my opinion, friendlier golfers than those older guys in Indiana. They were great. Some guys
Yeah,
had played Masters, and
that's
it was
crazy.
yeah. So what was the question?
It was like,
Texas.
yeah, Texas, you were starting to teach a lot more, but
We
like,
were still trying. Yeah, I was still of the belief, okay, I need to go somewhere warm. We had family issues, church issues. We were like, we need to go somewhere warm. So I told mom, Florida, South Carolina, or Texas. I'm like, there's mini tours down there. I need to get around those guys. I want to go play and train around those guys. We had a couple in Indiana when I was at Heartland Crossing that were playing on the Hooters tour and stuff, and I got to play with those guys. Um, and it should have exposed like my lack of game, but it just furthered, because you're like, I can do this.
yeah,
I can do this. I had the same amount of birdies as those guys. I just got to eliminate my 9 bogeys. So yeah, we moved down to Texas, warmer weather, and I was like, that'll allow me to pursue this. I hooked up with Joe Caruso. He was up on Blanco at the time. He needed a director of junior golf, and allowed me to fill in and do that. I started doing camps for him and teaching, playing as well. But then I don't know. I basically just had an epiphany of like, you guys were starting to get older. I'm not good enough.
yeah,
And the amount of work I was going to need to put in to possibly get good enough, I'm like, I just don't think so.
yeah, and because that was kind of around the time where me, Abby, Elijah, and Des were kind of like really getting into golf.
Yeah. And I always took you guys with me as much as we could.
Yeah,
And I'm like, I don't want to invest anymore in myself. This is silly. Like, I'd rather just invest in the kids, see how good they can get. They've got a better chance, obviously. And I was starting to enjoy the teaching too. Mainly what I love about teaching though is the people you meet.
yeah,
You get to meet some people, and like, I'm insanely competitive, so it's pretty fun to get somebody good and see if
yeah,
they can succeed.
yeah. Like with all the teaching stuff, what's like the biggest difference between like teaching your kids and then like teaching just like a normal student?
I think by far, um, especially when I first started teaching, you're really insecure. I was very insecure. I don't know if I'm good enough to teach, like, I don't like,
Yeah,
what am I doing? Because I wasn't doing anything in life that was like a teacher. I was just learning as much as I could. And so with your kids, you're kind of like, that's kind of your showcase. You're showing people that you know what you're doing. And so unfairly, that's a lot of pressure on the kids of, hey guys, if you play poorly, not did you have a bad day or whatever. You're a reflection of me, and I'm a bad teacher, and I can't handle that. And definitely early on, there was a lot of ridiculous conversations. Um, and I think with other students, you don't feel that.
yeah,
You're like, um, if this kid fails, like, yes, you always take ownership. I mean, that's hard as a teacher. I take all the losses personal, but it didn't feel like so much of your self worth.
yeah,
um, but like, just point of advice for any young instructors coming up, or thinking about that, or even parents. Your kids' play on the course is not a reflection of you as a parent unless you're on the sidelines screaming insults at them. Then it's a direct reflection.
We've seen that before.
Yeah, and guilty. I've done that before. But it's also not a reflection of you as a coach or teacher. Definitely as a coach or teacher, in my mind, it's way more on the players than it is on the coach. The coach's job is to not screw that kid up and not fill their head with a bunch of stupidity of things that you don't know about,
Yeah.
like wrist angles and stuff. And then you're like, well,
And then for the student, it's like, work hard at it. Like, don't just go be a lazy butt.
work hard.
Because that's probably got to be so aggravating, putting all your effort into a kid to get him better, and then he won't even go practice an hour in a week.
Yeah, it's actually not. I learned early on to name students after the bill that they're paying. So, I got a lesson with cell phone today. He's my cell phone payment. That sounds like, are you kidding me? No, I can put everything into that, but I know that lazy butt is going to go pick up that video game controller and go play 20 hours of video games over the next week,
Yep.
not pick up his clubs and not do anything.
And then complain about why. Well, actually, it won't even be him. It'll be his parents.
Oh, yeah, parents will
Well,
complain.
why isn't he getting better? Well,
Yeah. I think, you just try to educate the parents on what it takes to be successful.
yeah.
And, but yeah, it's different with your kids for sure, because I don't know, we've had some good, usually there's a little bit of fighting. I think that's that's pretty
Yeah.
normal.
Yeah. What's one thing, like, if you could go back to your younger self, like either when you were starting to like get into teaching or like just like trying to play, what would you tell yourself?
Trying to play, I would have, I wish I knew course management stuff. I wish I knew I didn't know how to practice, like all the stuff I'm teaching kids. Like, yeah, I wish I would have known how to practice correctly. I wish I would have known how to break down a course and understand how to attack it. Because I make fun of my game, but mostly it was mental stuff, just not being prepared for playing at a certain length, not being prepared for competition, and managing that, like course management and stuff. I would have had a lot better results. I wouldn't be on tour today, but I would have had a lot better results for sure, knowing what I know now. As far as like when I started at 13, because I'm like, that's not too late to start.
Yeah.
There was some pros in town, and my dad had a business. And I kind of put this on, like, why didn't dad go and talk? Well, mom and dad didn't like golf.
Yeah.
But I wish we would have just went and talked to him, because I was working at McDonald's. And it's like, why not go work at the golf course in exchange for some lessons and training? Because that guy's son was good. I wish I would have done that, because that would have been 4 or 5 years. And I could have started the pro golf disillusionment a little earlier.
Yeah. And then to like any young instructors coming up into the game, what would you tell them?
Make sure you're not making anything up.
Yeah.
So I think it's important to be very, very knowledgeable. And if you don't know about what you're trying to do, don't sit there and beat your head against the wall. Find somebody that does.
Yeah.
Like the worst thing this happens all the time. Either somebody's been with another instructor, and they come in, this is classic, and they go, hey, we're just going to try you out. We've been with so-and-so, and you take 2 seconds of the kid and you go, he has a terrible grip.
Yep.
So that terrible grip, now that kid, he can't effectively shallow the club. He can't do anything but hit these giant pull hooks, or something.
Yeah.
And so, and sometimes it is, some younger guys, or sometimes it's just some bad teaching pros. And you're like, education, pretty much in this day and age, I don't want to say it's totally free, but you can get a lot of info out there. And I've been fortunate to have some really great teachers that have allowed me to sit with them and pick their brains.
Yeah.
And I mean, early on, I had Joe Caruso, good instructor here in San Antonio, essentially taught me how to run my own business.
Yeah.
I don't know if he knew that's what he was teaching me, but taught me how to run the camps, be responsible for my own bookings, things like that, and that was great. Brian Gathright, great instructor, probably in the Texas Hall of Fame one day. Works with Johnny Kiefer, the Meisner brothers. He's had Nota Begay, and he was so gracious with his time there for about 2.5 years. I went up every week and spent 10 to 12 hours with him, watching him
Yeah.
teach. He was so gracious with his time. Like I would take my iPad up with videos, show him students that I was struggling with, things I didn't know how to fix. He would always help me. I could text him. We haven't connected in a few years, but um, that dude made me so much money just by the amount of knowledge he imparted
Yeah.
and how he helped me and gave me some advice. I've had other instructors, Chase Cooper up in Oklahoma, EJ Kim in Houston. These guys are like, they're just really, really good dudes. They have high level players and they've been very gracious to me. And then, Bill Rogers,
Yeah.
not an instructor, but great players, open really good doors for people to just mentor me. And I mean, this, I still do this to this day. Like, go sit with somebody, go learn
Yeah.
from somebody, go keep learning. And I think, um, not a short answer, but if you're a new instructor, never stop learning.
Yep.
Never stop learning. Don't learn from just one instructor because everybody finds their thing they're good at, and then they become really opinionated, and then they judge everybody else that is doing it that way. And it's like, well, you can learn from that guy because he's obviously successful for a reason, but go learn from somebody that does the opposite from him
Yeah.
as well. You should kind of know what everybody's out there teaching.
Because then you just kind of make your own way
Yeah,
of teaching. You just can kind of combine it all.
yeah, and I think you should have that. And that's, I don't know. I feel like I've continued to do that, and yeah, and then that's about it.
Yeah. And then, like, now, what are you up to with short game and everything?
So yeah, I guess just down in Texas, worked with Caruso for years. Then we were director of instruction at Golf Club of Texas. They had a change of management, and good grief. Well, they used to be managed by a company, and I had an agreement with the company to do the instruction and stuff there. That did not end real well because that company got booted, and I don't think they were transparent about contracts and things like that. But we built a huge program there at Golf
Yeah.
Club of Texas. We had over 90 kids in weekly groups. And so from there, we went out to a little tiny, like 5-acre site with a garage and a flight scope. And then we managed our groups while we were working on getting short game together. Cause I was like, I'm done going to a golf course, trying to hang my shingle out there, build a business, have them change ownership or change plans or try to change my rates,
Yeah.
and you always have that. They're fine with you when you're teaching 10 kids, but when you have 90 and then you're hiring multiple instructors, I had like 2, 3 other instructors at the time that were making some form of money
Hmm.
out of the business. And then they're like, okay, we'd like 70% of your lesson revenue.
Yeah.
And you're like,
Whoa, now.
yeah, I bet you
Yeah.
would. um, so the goal with, short game was, let's get a place that we own that nobody can dictate to me how much I have to teach, what percentage, all of that. And that's what we came up with. We got this out here in Castroville, 20 acres, pretty cool driving range,
Yep.
TrackMan range. We've got technology in here in the building. Um, and now I'm able to build this exactly how I want. So it's pretty much just family. Elijah is the main instructor here, and we're keeping him busy, which is great.
Yeah.
Everybody knows this as an instructor that's tried to build a business. You know, get yourself busy, and then do you have enough to give to others? And we're fortunate enough in that, and um, a lot of freedom here, and it feels really good.
Yeah. Yep, we love it here. Any upcoming plans with short game or anything that you wanna, like, put out there so people know about?
Yeah. No, not really, but like we got some cool things. Like you're gonna do a Monday qualifier,
Yeah, it's gonna be
um,
exciting.
a pre-qualifier, and I get a caddy for that, so that's exciting.
Yeah,
And Destiny's got going to Georgia, and then she's got a lot of bigger events this year that I do not get a caddy for.
yeah. What's that like having a daughter that's gonna be going to D1 college for golf?
Yeah. If I was still taking my identity and how my kids are doing, it would probably be really stressful because it's like getting that offer was great. That's exciting. But then you'd probably feel that pressure to maintain that.
Yeah,
And I feel very calm with Destiny's future. She's got to continue to work hard, but I know if she does that, she's gonna be successful way beyond college. And I think they're getting a great player. So
yep,
I mean, that's exciting. I mean,
yeah,
we're super excited about that. I'm excited for the opportunity, what that's going to do. But it's fun to see your kids succeed or get an opportunity that either you didn't have or you sacrificed you for years or kind of felt like you laid the groundwork so they would have that.
yeah,
Like even you playing in Monday qualifier, I mean, it's all this work we've put in, and it's irrelevant whether you get through or not. The fact that
yeah.
you're good enough to get in that is like, hey, that's pretty cool that we've gotten to that point.
What are some of the challenges that you've run into with, like, either some students that you've had or just, like, just their parents or parents at tournaments, those type of challenges?
Yeah. It's always a challenge working with, I don't want to say working with parents, but working with people with expectations. And that doesn't mean high standards. We have extremely high standards. I feel like I do.
Yeah,
I feel like very high standards, but people have this vision of their kid that kid is okay. So parents view their kid with the potential they think that kid has, but that kid may come in lazy, not very good. Maybe he's got a bad grip, and you're asking them to make, some type of big change. You're trying to lay out like, okay, you've got this kid and you've been with X instructor. X instructor isn't very good and can't get your kid to the level that you want them to get to.
yeah,
But the parent hasn't, let's say they spent $8,000 with that instructor since that kid was 8 years old or whatever. And the parent is of the opinion that the kid doesn't need major work,
yeah,
that he just, we're kind of getting tired of, what we were doing there. And so we just want to see if you see anything different. And you look and you're like, this kid's swing is trash. And so you're basically insulting the parents saying you wasted your $8,000. They don't want to hear it. But at the same time, if you're not brutally honest with them, that kid's never going to get where they want to get to.
yeah,
And most of the time, where that kid wants to get to is totally different from where that parent wants that kid to
yeah,
get to. And the parent's like, well, I know he's good. Okay, whatever. And I've had this. I've had parents go, um, I'm going to bring my son to you. You've never seen an athlete like him. And I'm like, yeah, okay. Um, I've played with, I've played with some really good players.
yeah,
And I'm like, okay, all right. The kid comes in, you go, what's he done in tournaments? Well, 88. However, that's because we've been playing tennis, basketball, football, and soccer. But we're going to dedicate now, and he's going to take the golf world by storm. And you're like, yeah, okay.
and then a lot of the times the kid's like, "Well, I don't even wanna play golf, like, let me
Yeah.
go play the other sports."
Yeah. Or even if the kid is, that so what I like to do, you didn't really ask this, but like what I like to do is just let's lay out the standard. What do you think it takes? So like a big one for kids, especially here in Northside school district, they want to break 80. Okay. So if you break 80 in Northside, you're one of the better kids.
Yeah,
You might win districts just breaking 80. And so to shoot in the 70s what is that standard? Like, what do you have to do? What is a kid that shoots in the 70s? So I like to show them. Well, here's what a kid that shoots in the 70s does. Like, for one, okay, so a kid will go, I've just not been scoring what I'm capable. Okay, what are you scoring? I'm shooting 87. Okay, how many holes did you play last week? 3. It's very common because they can't get on the courses here or they get there too late. And in school practices, they play 3 holes. I mean, it's pretty common. So then you're like, you'll get a kid that thinks they're playing a lot. 18. We're going to play 18 a week or 27. Okay, that's not enough. That's not enough on D1 level. It's probably not enough on D2 level.
Yeah.
So, well, how many holes does Destiny play? 54. 54 holes a week. Yeah, well, she's homeschooled. Right. We didn't do that for golf, but if we were in this now, and let's say we were in public school, we would be homeschooling.
Yeah.
Because we don't play with any golfers out there on HHEA and all those national tournaments that the kid isn't homeschooled.
I know.
And it just takes an enormous amount of time. And so you tell people, okay, well, if you're going to stay in the school system, and don't hate me for this, Northside, although Northside's come out with a homeschool package this next year, and I think it's 4 hours a day. So
That's good.
kids that are trying to play golf should definitely jump in that.
Yeah.
But I go, okay, well, you could get up at 4:35 in the morning, and you could be out here to work out at short game because Abby will meet you.
Yep.
And we'll get your fitness going. No.
Well, that's just too early for us.
Did you play on Saturday? No. We had this thing at grandma's. Okay, what about Sunday? No, we had to run up to New Braunfels. All right, when are you actually going to play? So I make it pretty clear, and the parents we have amazing parents. But we definitely lose out on kids that come in and parents think they're God's gift to this earth. And I tell them they're not.
Yeah.
And here's what they're going to have to do. And they're unwilling to do it. And then usually they get, maybe a little bit offended with that. People don't want to hear the truth. They really don't.
No.
They want to hear you. And so I don't do that. I never do that. I don't fluff somebody up. I'm not going to do that. I know instructors that do and will make you feel like you've got a world beater there. I mean, you can just go on Instagram, and even kids in the area, there's parents running their social media, and this kid is a powerhouse. You look them up. I mean, legit, I'm not going to drop any names, but like there's kids I've never heard of. They're not in our circles. I look them up because the parent, the dad, the mom is just raving.
Absolute stick.
Yeah.
Best
they are,
generation.
Oh, man, practicing from the tips and all this. I look them up. And they're shooting 93s in school tournaments, which high school events, I've seen some here played as short as 4,300 yards for girls, 4,300 yards, but most of them are only played around 5,000. So then the parent, so you have to educate them on that. You go, all right, your kid's been pretty good, right? They're shooting 70s from 5,000 yards. Well, in college, D1, which is what you want to do, they're going to play 6,300.
Yeah.
6,200, 6,100. They're going to play much longer. So we go put them in a STPGA Prestige, which is 5,600.
Yeah.
It's not long. And they shoot 98. And the parents flip out. I just don't get what's the problem. It's like, you understand that that's 1,600 yards. It's almost 100 yards a hole longer than what they're playing in high school. They shoot what they shoot. I mean, it is what it is. So instead of like accepting the reality of where they're at, okay, my kid's a 90s shooter from 5,600. What do I need to do now to get better?
Yeah.
They don't do that. They get offended. They get irritated. Well, you know what? We're gonna do something else. It's like, well,
okay.
So those are challenges. But I love high performers, and I love those kids and they're not. You don't get them that much. They're very, very rare to get a kid that would like to pitch a tent out here at short game and never leave.
Yep.
And Destiny's one. And it's like, oh, you've probably made her. Nope. We have to make her go home.
Yeah.
Like, stop hitting balls.
She's never not here.
Stop practicing. You need to go home. Um, that's fun. And, and it's so rewarding too. And we have some students like this, and they're infectious to be around because they want to win. They're
Yep.
competitive. They want to win in life. Their parents understand. The parents, honestly, all the parents have a common thread. They're not overbearing.
Yeah.
They kind of stay in the back and they go, well, this is their thing. I don't like seeing them play terrible, but I'm not going to act like a maniac and just lose my mind over it either.
Yeah. And what I've seen is like a lot of the parents that are getting mad don't even play golf.
Yeah, I know. That's
And
even.
so they have no clue of anything, like of how hard this game actually is.
Yeah, that's the most ridiculous thing of all. Like the dad that'll come in here and go, I want you to work on this.
Like, dude.
Well, I don't take that well. I go, you're not going to tell me what to work on. So like if you bring the kid to me, I'm going to mold them and shape them into the best version of themselves.
Yep.
They're going to get good. I'm going to help them to become a better person, which is very important to me. It's important to me that we have kids that carry themselves at a high level on and off the course. The reality that they would play D1 or tour, it's actually slim. It's less than 1% that are going to, it's like 1.3% or something like that ever play D1.
Yeah.
And less than that are going to play for a Power 4 conference. So, I'm like, how about we make them successful and that'll serve them well in life. And I think I hope I've done a good job of that. I think a lot of my students that I've taught, I get invited to the graduations, weddings,
Yep.
things like that. And so you feel like, okay, I've done my job there.
So like with an average golfer or like clients we have out here at Short Game that are just like they're wanting to get better, they're wanting to learn more. What's something that they can do to get better?
I think a lot of guys will steer away from lessons. It's weird. I saw a statistic like maybe 20% of golfers ever take lessons.
Wow.
And I think for kids, right, we're either working with them on a weekly or semi-weekly basis. We want to see them all the time. They're easy to mold at that age. Adults are not easy to mold. They're pretty set in their ways, even bad habits. And so sometimes they're like, you know what? I've learned to play like this. I don't want to go to this guy and then have my swing wrecked. And that's a fair question. A good instructor should be able to take what you have and lead you along as you make changes, little or big changes. But the biggest thing I see, like with adults, especially if you didn't grow up, it's like going back to when I was playing. I didn't know how to practice.
Yeah.
How do you practice? So I think even you invest in a lesson and learn how to practice. And I mean,
That's so valuable right there.
maybe a
learning
hot
how to
take, but
practice.
if the instructor doesn't have good students, they don't know how to teach them how to practice, and they probably don't know what they're doing either. But like, learn how to practice. If you come out here at Short Game and you have an hour, 2 hours, don't just whale balls. You're just hitting your driver. You go and chip for a little bit, and you do your little thing. But it's like, no, like you actually need to be intentional on what you're working on. So I think learning how to practice is a big deal for people. Being effective with your time, especially as an adult, you probably got family, you got things that you can't be out here all the time like these kids.
Yeah.
The kids that are practicing an hour a week. But no, I mean you can do stuff, but I think managing your time, practicing correctly, or just course management. And it's like everybody thinks that needs to be done on the course. That's a myth. That is done in the classroom. Course management is done in the classroom.
Yeah.
So we teach you in the classroom the rules and where you're to aim, how you choose targets, all of that, and then you apply it on the course.
Yeah.
So when I go out and watch somebody on the course, because everybody wants you to go, take my kids, and I'm like, well, I want stats, right? Send me your stats. Give me a video while they're out there on the course, or show me their demeanor between holes.
Yeah.
We can change pretty much everything. That kid's got slumped shoulders. He's hitting his bag. He's rushing through his routine. I can tell all kinds of stuff. And then make the kid tell me where they were aiming at, why they aimed at that. And so a lot of things, could be with that with adults. Adults could use better course management and better time management with their practice.
Course management is huge for lowering scores.
Yeah.
Like people just want to go out and whale drive around the course the whole time, but it's not the best decision every time.
Yeah. When you're in trouble, do you know how to get out?
Yeah. It's not the hero shot every time.
No. We'll see you next time. Hello. You're still there. Great. Hit like, subscribe, make sure the bell's on. You won't miss another one of these fantastic episodes.